It's time for a little Funky Friday. From their funky hidden headquarters, your hosts, Keith and Gerry.
Hey guys, we're back. I of course dealt with not the coof. It was just the flu. We're in a world now where you go, oh, I just had the flu, even though the flu kills more people than the coof.
Just call it the floof.
The flu. And I've still got the hackney cough, but I'm doing a lot better today. But I've been conserving my energy, preparing for today. So I haven't been doing any other broadcasts, and I won't do one tomorrow either. I've just got some really good shows planned this month. I mean, today we've got TGIF with Mike Barron, who's not here yet. He will be here in a few minutes. I talked to him on the phone. And so
He's
he
currently
is
getting
en
a
route.
restraining order.
And then later this evening, we're going to be doing a special episode as part of the Band of Brothers celebration with a lot of our friends, including, Gorgo. Polly, of course, was involved with this. I'm very excited about it, because we got Julia Dye from Warriors Incorporated, the people behind Band of Brothers. They were the military supervisors, as well as Dale Dye was the star, and that's Julia's husband. He was one of the stars of the show. And basically, she has a lot of behind-the-scenes info and little stories, anecdotes, and it should be fun. Hey, there's Mike.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Mike,
doing,
I think
my
I
friend?
just talked to you.
Yeah, you again.
Yeah,
you again. Thanks a lot, Mike. I'll be respectful the whole hour, and that's what I get. I love you, you dick.
Love you.
As long as
you
you've been
dick.
respectful like
I'm
me.
wearing a different hat.
There we go. We got, you know what? In celebration of hat, I'm going to put on my military hat.
I was hoping for a sombrero. I was really hoping for Gerry in a sombrero.
Because I like celebrating being a veteran. But later on, Mike, this evening, if you're interested in watching, we're going to be doing a retrospective on the 10th episode of Band of Brothers as part of a series with other channels. And we got Julia Dye from Warriors Inc. It's going to be on talking about behind the scenes stuff. It'll be fun. But this one, Mike said that he had some news. And so I'm like, yeah, let's get you back on the show, my friend, and talk about what you have to announce.
Are we talking about Thin Blue Line?
That's the announcement that you launched a new campaign, or what's going on?
Yeah, it's launched. We launched this morning.
Outstanding.
Sounds great.
All right, let me get to the link here. And there it is. All right, now, Steven Seagal knows exactly what we're talking about because we've been through this shit before.
Oh, I want to call it shit. It looks fantastic. But
No,
yeah.
thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thin Blue Line is my graphic novel about two police officers trying to survive the night in a riot-torn city. And obviously was inspired by real events of last summer. My artist is a full-time police officer. His name is Joe Arnold. I've known Joe for many years, since before he was a police officer. And despite being a full-time police officer, he still finished the book faster than many pros.
Dang. And I like his artwork, dude.
Yeah, he's very good. He was helped by our inker and colors, Jeff Slemons, who's a brilliant artist in his own right.
Hey,
thank you, Fat Steven, for putting that up there. Mexican Iron Man gave us $19.99. It's the Mexican Iron Man special. It's not $20. It's $19.99. Listening in from the tarmac at the airport while I bake like a Mexican rabbit chicken. You till I get to Dallas. Great panel. Howdy. Thanks a lot, Mike. Mike, of course, is our executive producer on this show, and he just tossed in some more money. because he's an awesome motherfucker.
I mean, I'm finally getting a paycheck. It's only been 3 months. And my birthday.
We
That
got
sounds
any
great.
questions yet for Memes of Destruction says, hey guys, what's going on?
That memes.
Hey, did you share any images with me on Twitter, Mike?
Probably not, but I will. You know, I'm sorry, guys. This is the 7th show I'm doing today.
Oh, don't worry about it, buddy.
I'm
This
losing
was
my
kind of a
mind.
last minute thing because I was actually going to do news of the week. But when you said that you had an announcement, I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm going to get you back on.
Yeah, I got a lot of stuff here. Hang on a second. Let me, if I can find that art.
He was very abusive to me on the other show. He kept saying,
I'm just
"Agree
getting
with me."
warmed up. I'm just
Yeah, I
getting
know.
warmed up.
Thank God I'm wearing buttless chaps.
I don't know why this is so slow. All right. My mail is messed up. Here we go. All right. Images are coming. This first image is it's a banner, and Pop Culture Minefield. I don't know. I can't post there now. What's the problem here? There we go.
It's probably Gary's fault.
Oh no!
Oh, yeah,
First of
I'll
all,
take the
there's
blame.
the link. There's the link, and the first one is a banner. This is from Sergio Cariello's cover.
Oh, Serge?
come on.
Yeah.
Come on!
I
There
love
it is.
Serge. He's a good guy.
Is Gary putting on lipstick?
Yes, I wanted my lips more pouty.
Mike, get ready. He's coming in for that brown nose kiss, you know?
And this is from Butch Geiss's cover. And as you know, Butch and I used to work together on The Flash. And in fact, we're working on another new story for Graham Nolan's Two-Fisted He-Man Tales, which is an anthology we're putting out. And
Graham Nolan is Two-Fisted He-Man.
Two-Fisted He-Man. And finally, this is for the regular cover by Joe Arnold and Jeff Slemons.
Dude,
So-
congrats, dude. You're already at 22% of your fixed goal.
Eh,
I mean, just
I'm-
started today.
okay.
These,
All right, no more compliments. I'm
very
done.
excited. I'm very excited. There's the dog. The mutt of judgment is sitting behind me now, and she's watching everything I say.
Oh, is that Elvis?
No, that's Matt.
Oh, where's Elvis?
There's no
Okay.
Elvis here. Maybe. Is Elvis in here? No, if he is. But you know, if Elvis were here and I couldn't see him because he's a ghost, Mac would start barking because she can sense ghosts.
Here is some of the artwork you shared.
I love the girl in that one. She looks great. I love the hair.
Yeah,
The
that's
dude
Sergio.
is a cop, and he's a really good. Well, I say that I was a soldier and was a really good artist.
Well, Gerry and I are going to work on something. We've already been discussing it.
Mm-hmm.
I was taking a nap when you called, but now I'm wide awake.
I love
Right.
those. I take middle of the day siestas now. It's like
See,
the
Alice?
Spanish, man. They know what they're doing. Some good artwork, man.
I have a question. The project you guys are working on, is it called Gerry Finally Gets a Personality? Is it going to be like a 48-page graphic novel? I'm sorry, he's trying not to laugh, too.
You know, if that were the name of the project, would it be only 4 pages long?
Oh, shoot. See, he's going to kill me.
Man, I'm so glad I'm back to get shit on.
Hey, you said you can't tell our friends if you're not getting shit
Oh
on.
my
So
God.
don't, you
That is so
brought that
funny.
motto.
Don't
here.
let me-
You know, this reminds me. Oh my God, who was it that was the artist for Mad Magazine that did the back pages?
Oh, geez, there's so many great artists that work for Bad Magazine.
I keep thinking Carlos Garzon, but I don't think that's who it is.
Well, you know, Sergio Aragones.
Aragones, that's it. That's what this reminds me of,
Yeah.
this style of artwork.
Uh,
Here, I'll enlarge it. I'll make it bigger. It's getting
I'm
bigger
going to make
now.
it bigger and thicker.
Oh, it's getting big.
Sergio was, they used to stick his doodles in the margins.
Yes.
He was a margin doodler.
If it wasn't him, then who was it that did the back pages that you would do the folds?
I know who you're talking about. There are so many great Mad Magazine artists. I can't think of his name right now.
Al
But
That's
Jaffe.
who this.
The
The
folding
way that the
pages is
paints
Al
are done
Jaffe.
on this reminds me of that dude's style.
This one is like Al Jaffe's, yeah.
Al
Al
Jaffe.
Jaffe. That's it. Thank you.
You know, I think. Please tell me there's at least going to be like a burning target or firestone in the background of one of these pages too, just as like a nod.
Well,
And of course, here's the
unfortunately,
page. Did you share the link?
Yeah.
the link is
Zach's?
in the chat, and I'll post it in the private thing too, if I can find it.
Well, Zach's, just make sure that you share it too. That way I know that it got through to everybody.
Yeah, it's in the private chat.
It is showing up.
Yeah,
Private
I see it
chat.
there,
It's also in the channel. In the channel, I already posted the link. I'm already on it, guys.
thank you guys.
It's like I did this before earlier.
Unfortunately, the businesses that are being destroyed in my comic, as in real life, are mom and pop businesses located in downtown urban areas.
Okay.
In fact, that figures prominently in the story.
Yeah, and I think
Can I-
that's nice. Socks is here. Hey, Socks, old redneck is here. What is up, my friend?
Mike, can I ask a question, Mike?
Sure.
What gave you the whole drive to even go down this road and want to do this? Is it something just specific, or just it came knocking on your door and you saw how it can come to fruition?
Well, the latter, in a way. I always say I don't choose my stories choose me. And just like Florida Man, every time I went online, there was a new Florida Man story until finally I said, well, this is just the richest material for fiction I've ever seen. Somebody has to write about this guy. But likewise, last summer, every time you turned on the television, this was all you saw.
Yeah, it was.
Was cities being burned down, people running amok, small businesses destroyed, over $2 billion in damage, thousands of small businesses, most of them minority owned, burned to the ground, people murdered, not a police officer to be seen, no one arrested, hardly, no FBI, nothing. Give them space to destroy, was what the mayors said of these cities. And then they all started chanting at once, in unison, as if on cue, we must defund the police. Well,
I thought it was "Let's Go, Brandon."
that came later. But I mean, defund the police. What a stupid idea! What a stupid, self-destructive, nihilistic idea. And it's because the United States represents the supreme achievement of Western civilization. You don't see thousands of people risking their lives to break into Cuba or Russia or Red China or Venezuela. No, they come here because of our success. And what is that success attributed? It's to our system of government, which is the only country in the world to elevate the primacy of the individual above the state. And the only country in the world to say that we have natural, innate, inborn rights. Our rights do not come from government. Government doesn't give us the right to say whatever we want. Government doesn't give us the right to defend our homes with weapons.
No.
Those are rights we are born with. Now, for whatever reason, a very loud minority, and they are a minority, has seized control of this country and motivated mostly by envy, greed, resentment, and spite. They're trying to destroy this country, and that's the defund the police movement. Now, you notice that all the politicians that were screaming defund the police last summer, they're all silent, and they're all saying, oh, I never said that. Oh, I never meant that.
But Mike, the best thing about that is if we actually want to clarify perfectly for 2020, as Sox is saying, defund the police. Oh, wait, they're in the backyard. Come back. Come back. Come back. I need it. I need you in my lawn. Protect me. Okay, go away.
But back to the story. I have 3 rules as a writer, and the first rule, and one I never lose sight of, is it's my job to entertain. And this is a wildly entertaining story. There's no preaching. There's no didacticism. It'll grip you from the first page to the last. You won't be able to put it down. The characters are real. They don't preach. The dialogue is very real. And like even the grimmest story, there are flashes of humor throughout, because Shakespeare understood that. Even Schindler's List has a couple of jokes, but it's not a funny book. It's a serious drama, and everything in it could happen, which is the kind of story I like. And in order for me to enjoy a modern movie or novel, I have to believe it could actually happen. And those are the entertainments to which I'm drawn, which unfortunately leaves out a lot of great entertainment if you're willing to suspend disbelief. But I watch a movie and I say, could this really happen? But the moment that movie veers into cloud cuckoo land, they lose me. I say, oh yeah, it's entertained, but it's not in top tier. And a perfect example is that movie Nobody, starring Bob Odenkirk, which I watched earlier this year. And you know Bob Odenkirk from Never Call Saul or Better Call Saul. And he plays a regular family man whose home is invaded one night by a couple of criminals, and because he acts like a coward, his children start to doubt him. Well, it turns out that his character is actually a retired CIA super agent. And by the end of the movie, he and his father, played by Christopher Lloyd, are mowing down hundreds of nameless, faceless assassins who are parachuting in and driving up in trains and crawling out of the sewers. And they lost me, because that can't take place in real life without somebody noticing. So I'm drawn to drama that I believe could happen. And everything in this book is ripped from the headlines. And anybody who knows my work knows I've been doing this my whole life. All you have to do is read Punisher or Nexus to know that I get a lot of my ideas from the headlines. But only insofar as it's the stuff of good drama. I had a great writing teacher once. His name was Gerry McNeely, and he said, you make them laugh a little bit, you make them cry a little bit, you scare the hell out of them, and that's entertainment. And I've never lost sight of that, too. It's always my first job is to entertain. The second rule is show, don't tell, which seems simple on the face of it. And yet, the people who are putting out mainstream comics these days apparently have never heard of it. And it's a good rule for life, too. And by that, I mean, if you want to do good works, don't tell us what a wonderful person you are and about the good works you're doing. Just do the good works.
The other thing would follow that is, like you're saying, make them laugh, make them cry, and shock them. But all those three connect into the one thing that makes the middle of that triangle. It's make them think for themselves, right? And that's what you try to deliver at the end of the project.
Well, yeah, I'm not whether it's not that it has a point of view, and the point of view is, of course, police are necessary. Without the rule of law, there can be no civilization. You're either for the rule of law or you're not. But that's just a subtext, and it's shown. It's not told to you.
No.
You can see it in the actions of these police officers and the people who were affected by this riot.
Yeah. And of course, these people that are wanting to defund the police are wanting to defund the police now. Once they've established their rule of law, then they will be all for law enforcement. Law enforcement.
Yeah. I want to apologize, Mike. I didn't mean like that. What I'm trying to say is you're giving the opportunity for the person who's enjoying your book, your novelization, to make them think for themselves rather than you're trying to push an agenda. I didn't mean it in that category. You're trying to make creativity in the mind. He's going to hurt me later.
Well, first of all, I'm trying to tell an entertaining story. That's job one, and I think I've done it here. The story is great. You're going to love the characters. Not all the cops are good. Not all the rioters are bad. I got a lot in there without cramming it or lecturing. Every panel has its purpose, and it unflows naturally to the point where you're through the book before you even know it, and you're done. You say, "Wow, nobody interrupted my journey. I was not jolted out of this story by any discord, such as stopping the action dead for a long lecture on what's right." I'm sure you've all seen
lecturing the audience in particular, because that's one of the worst things we've seen in comics today. Is where
You've all seen that X-Man page where there's a couple of X-Men squeezed down at the bottom.
Hundreds of bubbles in that little artwork.
Yeah.
I used to love X-Men comics. Come on, I even have some like that fold-out cover. Remember that issue they had when they folded out and had posters on either side and had the concept sketches with the blue ink on the inside? God, and now we're getting like It's not even good enough to wipe your ass with.
Yeah, if only they would make it out of more absorbent paper.
Yeah, they would. Yeah, they need Scotty's, the Marvel Comics brand. You don't like Dr. Doom? What we've done now. Here it goes.
Wipe with him. Where do you plan to go with this? Is this going to be just a one shot, or
Yeah, it's a
plan to
one
do
shot.
more?
It's a one shot. I said what I had to say. If somebody were to come to me and say, "This is so great, we're going to give you a whole bunch of money to do a sequel," I would have to think about it, because I'm not in this business for my health. I chose to be a professional writer because I believe I could make a living at it. And I had this epiphany when I was 12 years old, and I went into a cigar store and I bought a John D. MacDonald novel for 35 cents from a spinner rack. And I went out and I was standing on the sidewalk looking at this book, and suddenly I had this revelation. I said, well, this guy's not writing this for his health. He must get paid for it. That's what I want to do. So it had always been in the back of my mind to become a writer. And the way I became a writer, I obviously studied a little writing in college, not as seriously as I could have. And I wish that I had. In retrospect, I'd be further down the road than I am now. But in another sense, I'm exactly where I should be. My first job out of college was smoking dope for the government. Now, let me tell you about
Really?
that. Yeah. I moved to Boston because I heard there were a couple of newspapers there that would hire anybody with a flair for writing. And I thought I had a flair. And I picked up an issue of the Boston Phoenix. And in the back, in the classifieds, there was an ad from Harvard University and the National Institute of Mental Health. Wanted volunteers to live on a hospital ward for a month, smoke government-grown marijuana, and take a series of tests. So I signed up, and they accepted me. There were 12 of us, and all day long, we smoked government dope, and we took tests.
Question.
It was just like college.
Okay. Now, this is a serious question for those that are trying to debate. Is government dope as good as street dope or no?
It was very good. It was grown on a farm in Mississippi, and I managed to smuggle out enough to turn on all my friends. It was really very good dope. We got very high off of it, and we had a good time. And when I got out, I wrote that up, and I sold the story of the Boston Phoenix, and that's how I started in journalism.
You are a role model and a scholar, kid.
Thank you.
Right there. Look at that. I think he's turning red right now. Look at that. Mike, man.
Well, I'm actually surprised nobody's asking any questions. They're just like, they're wanting to buy your book. I can see that.
Judgment mutt.
I can help out if you want. Pretty much because, Mike, we talked earlier. The whole thing with the thin blue line, we're looking at the two characters on those covers, is that they're not actually partners. They actually meet up during the things as the shit starts hitting the fan.
That's right. Her original partner is murdered by the mob, and that's in the book.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. So the calamity brings these two together.
Right. You meet that officer on the first page because when we meet Valeria, she's testing for her brown belt in jiu-jitsu. And we don't know she's a cop at that stage. I mean, the smart reader will know, but the first scene takes place in a dojo, and Schmidt, the man she's pictured with on the cover, is already a black belt, and he's one of the martial artists that's judging her test, and that's where we meet him. But after the test, you don't see him until halfway through the book when he reappears after her regular partner is killed. And my artist, Joe Arnold, is a full-time police officer, and he's also a jiu-jitsu practitioner, and there are a number of martial arts scenes in here that are very accurately and dynamically depicted. This has always been one of my things. I remember being a fan of the original Master of Kung Fu. I loved it. I picked it up religiously for the art. But even then, I knew that there was no martial arts in it. What they were showing us were just movie poster poses. You never saw a technique unfold in real time, so you can see how it's done from panel to panel. And that's always been my thing, is choreographing the fight scenes in an exciting, dynamic, and realistic manner. And it's all over Badger. Anybody who's read Badger knows that. the way to do that is you hold your camera still and you let the characters move. Because I wanted to go beyond punches and kicks, although there are plenty of punches and kicks, but there are many techniques in martial arts that aren't punches and kicks. I'm talking about joint locks, chokes, and throws. And the reader wants to see how that's done. And to do that, you have to an artist who understands that and knows how to draw the figures to show the fulcrum of the hip and where the weight is and where you grip your opponent and stuff like that. And that's all over the book.
Yeah, and I'm a firm believer in that as well, because I'm a lifelong martial artist. I've been studying martial arts since I was like 6. And I went from judo to Ishinryu to Kajin Kimbo. And I love, like in the action scenes in mine, I work with a jiu-jitsu master, buddy of mine, and we choreograph together the fight scenes. And I think it's important to put realism, because like you said, so often in the past you saw like the sloppiest kick pose or whatever. And honestly, I've been in a lot of fights and I can't remember one kick that went above the shin. I've done quick sweeps and I've done quick low body kicks. You don't want to throw off your center of gravity when you're in a fight. At grappling and holds are really your friends in a real fight situation if it's close quarter. And you want to be the one with the knife. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Well, there's knife fights or something else.
You're going to get hurt. I tell people, movies, you are not going to walk out of a knife fight without being stabbed or cut. It's happening. You just sort of accept it and don't be freaked out by it. It's going to happen.
In fact, there's a couple of videos floating around that show Danny Inosanto in a room, and they tell police, those in training, to go in. They don't tell them what to expect. And he's like 10 feet away when they enter the room, and all of a sudden he's on them stabbing away with a rubber knife or whatever. But the speed with which an assailant can get you with a blade is astonishing. You can't outrun that for the most part. He's going to be on you.
It's like, because I used to work with a lot of cops, and I would show them how to disarm somebody. But each time I said, unless you have a weapon and you're going to get cut. You're going to get cut. Get used to it. What was it Yodel taught me as a company I worked for? Get comfortable with the uncomfortable. It's going to happen. But I did disarm a cop buddy of mine once, broke his wrist doing it. He told me he wanted me to go combat speed. I used a broomstick, broke it, and used it as a screamer stick, arnis. And he pulled out his weapon, and before he could do anything with it, I had it about 15 feet across the room, and his wrist was broken.
Ouch.
Learned a lesson.
I hope you're still friends.
Oh, we stayed friends. Did
you at least replace the broom?
I wanted it. I wanted it. And I'm like, okay, you wanted combat speed. That's what happens.
Purple.
But that's just a small part of the story. There are all sorts of people you meet in the story, including the small shop owners who were ruined, whose lives are destroyed by this mob that has no brain. I mean, once you create a mob, they're really not out there to make the world a better place. Most of that mob is there to loot and riot and get free stuff.
Yep. Because that's the whole thing. If you're there standing up to try to prove a difference, try to change the world, you're not going into a Target and taking all the TVs and Nikes and walking out the door. That doesn't change the world. It just changes your selfishness. I don't need this no more. Let's go down to Walmart. I hear they have PlayStations. Let's go now.
Hey, now, Mike, we've talked about Valeria. Let's talk about Bob Mack.
Bob Mack. That's her original partner.
Tell us a little bit about this guy.
Well,
how does he meet her? What's it all about? What's his character?
Bob isn't on the scene for a long time. He's original partner. He picks her up when they go to work. He's just a good guy. He's a straight shooter. There's not a whiff of scandal about him. He's an honest, hardworking, lifelong career police officer who's been in the force for like 12 years. But I don't want to give away too much about what happens to Bob Mack. Well, one of the reasons I wrote this is because, like you, I know a number of police officers, and most of them are joined the police force because they wanted to make a difference. Like somebody's, oh, I want to make a difference, so I'm trying to destroy petroleum fuels. Well, these guys are trying to make a difference in a more realistic and practical way by keeping their communities safe. And they want to help people. And that's been my experience now. There's no denying there are bad cops. And usually when you have a bad cop, everybody in the department knows who it is. It's not a big surprise. I think the police out here are remarkably free of bad cops, but I don't know. I'm not a police officer. But the point of the book is you're either for the rule of law or you're not. And that civilization cannot exist without rules and laws and with people respecting those rules and laws. John Adams said, our Constitution was made for a moral and religious people. It is totally useless for any other. Well, I'm not here to preach religion, but we know what John Adams meant. He meant that a good citizen respects the rights of others and has character and dignity and tries to work within the system in an honest and constructive manner. And I don't think we're seeing that these days. You know, a lot of us think we're on the verge of losing Western civilization. I think this whole war on Western civilization is generated by malice, envy, and resentment and greed.
Well, you're right, Mike.
Yeah, and I think that there's so many politicians, in fact, the vast majority of them go into politics to line their own pockets, to get special perks so they don't have to wait in line, and to punish their enemies. And that's what I see. You know, I'm hard pressed to name more than a handful of national leaders or representatives who are honest and do well for their constituents and mean well for the country.
Mike, can I ask you a question? Do you think we're at the point now where it's not just the special treatment they get when they go into politics and the other things you stated earlier, is that they're now developing mentality, but being a professional victim is not only easier, it's the lazy mentality to control not only the narrative, the media, and whatever person that goes against their own objective at the end.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that many of the actions these politicians are taking are cynical, self-serving actions simply so they'll get reelected. And I hate to put it this way, but it comes down to this: is vote for me and we'll give you a free ride at somebody else's expense.
Peter Scolari died?
I didn't know about that.
No, I'm a huge fan of his.
He did.
Oh, man.
1 hour ago, they're saying he did die, yes.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Murphy
Booze
Brown.
and Buddies is where I became a fan of his. God damn, man. I'm sorry, this got derailed for a second. I need to go look to see what happened here.
I'm not familiar with the actor, but apparently a lot of people like him.
He's on Evil. He plays the Monsignor at the church, where the main characters work to do research for exorcisms, are needed or not. I enjoy that show.
Gotcha, Gary.
A lot of things are happening lately, man. It's got them sad.
Fuck, dude.
He died this morning.
Fuck.
He was 66. I hate quoting CNN. Sorry, I don't believe in them. Scolari had appeared in numerous films and television series over the years, including Newhart, Murphy Brown, and The Good Fight. He won an Emmy in 2016 for his portrayal of Hannah's father in Todd Horvath's Girls.
God damn it. All right. God damn it. Okay.
So
Enough of the derailing. Let's get back to Mike. God damn it. Anyway, now I'm totally fucking derailed. I hate getting caught off guard by shit like that. Thanks, Dust Wolf, and you prick.
I do have one question without spoiling it. Does this novel or this whole project you're working have a chance to become an anthology? Yes or no? Not just by.
I'm hoping it is, because I like a good character. And the thing is, though, and I know in the right hands, somebody like Mike would do better. Because like Keith and I were just talking yesterday about the laziness of Hollywood with once they get an intellectual property and they want to keep working it, they stop doing character development.
It's astonishing. This is a standalone story. It was never intended to be a continuing series, but you never know what can happen.
What?
And if there were a market for it and it became an attractive thing to do, I could easily carry it forward. It's just I have no plans to do it at this time.
Well, the part of my question I wanted to ask is not focusing on these characters, but is there a way to do it where the same format can apply, but you're focusing on different emergency response within the same universe at a time? Has that ever been a consideration or no?
It has not been a consideration because, as I said, this story was prompted by very specific events and what came out of them. And I'm referring to the defund the police movement, which is just insane. And the first time you heard it, you asked yourself, are these people insane? Are they?
They are.
Yeah.
Look at the Chaz. That's a good example. Let's look at the Chaz. The Chaz didn't last very long, and it fell. And they still try to maintain some type of law and order, even though it's like, hey, look at our cardboard box. We're growing plants in that garden and stuff like that. They didn't have no what they were doing.
And you know what's astonishing is with all the destruction that's occurred in Portland, that they have a handful of arrests and people are let out of jail immediately afterwards for little or no bail, and no one is held accountable. And then the whole entire police force is fading away. They're quitting. The same thing is happening in Seattle. The riots become worse. The destruction becomes worse. Look what's happening in San Francisco. Walgreens is closing all their stores because they legalize shoplifting. I just don't get it. Said, well, you could steal up to $900 and we won't press charges. I just don't understand it, except that these George Soros appointed district attorneys are behind it. And obviously their intent is to destroy civilization. They have no good intent.
I believe that this way that you are using for your comic book is actually a real depiction of real life. This is how you depict real life, not all that bullshit that we get from Marvel or DC or any of those arseholes there. This is how you depict real life by addressing issues that really concern you. So what other issues would you like to address in your upcoming projects?
Well, I'm not a polemicist. As I say, my number one rule is it's my job to entertain, and I never lose sight of that. So when I sink my teeth into a story, it's because I think, that would make a great story. And I do all kinds of stories. I mean, look at Florida Man. Now, Florida Man, we're carrying on. Florida Man's going to be a series. When we're done with this, we're going to start.
So you don't plan your morals and your political stance early in your script writing?
You mean there's no checklist under that blanket?
I don't have to do that because there's a great book by John Gardner called On Moral Fiction, and what he says essentially is that the story must have a balance of good and evil. And in the end, good must be rewarded and evil must be punished, or the reader will feel cheated, unless the reader is a complete sociopath. And there are exceptions to this rule, but I believe for the most part that holds true. It just the whole field of superhero comics is filled with it because they're filled with these idealistic superpowered beings who are trying to do good, or at least they were up until about 5 years ago.
It's supposed to inspire superheroes in general. You don't have to have a power. Just the heroes in general. It's the whole concept. It's supposed to inspire the youth, inspire anyone to have the ability to go out and be the best person they can be, whether it's trying to change the world or be the best parent to their kids. It doesn't matter how far they go or what power they do or do not have. It's how they represent themselves and how the other people look at them, not to be admired, but to be respected. And that's the whole thing that's coming down here with this generation, even 2020. There is no respect. It's all demanded respect, and no one wants to give that away.
You see it in how they talk to the elderly. I run into
like
this
Gerry
all the time. Watching people. See, I still don't look my age, and so I don't get treated weird. But I have seen young people just give the shifty eye, avoid, not speak to older people. Like they're kind of a nuisance, and it just really fucking annoys me because I grew up. I loved the old people that around me. I loved talking to Rob. I miss those days as a kid. Wandering around as a newspaper boy. I had the largest route in the city of Fredericksburg, and a majority of my customers were old people, and I loved my customers. I think
could
they're the
run
greatest fucking stories.
But that's it though. If you're not young, you're not hip, you're not in there, you're pretty much considered a past cause. They don't no longer recognize you as a human being. They recognize you as those fading away as a walking tombstone. So why does your opinion matter? Because it falls in the same thing. They're trying to take away history because the old represents history. So if we don't acknowledge the old, we don't have to agree that history still exists and we can tear it down and make it something else. But that doesn't how it works. It's not a coloring book. You don't get to erase it and then write
kill
what you
the
want.
past.
Yeah.
Kennedy.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of people in this country have a vested interest in destroying Western civilization, and I think it's based on they're getting paid money to do it. I mean, George Soros is behind all these attorney generals who refuse to prosecute criminals in overwhelmingly blue states, and I'm talking about cities like Los Angeles and San Francisco in particular. It's just astonishing. It's just astonishing that they would legalize shoplifting. And then they say, oh no, all the retail is going away. Who could possibly have predicted this? I mean, it's just there are consequences to your actions.
Yeah. Even I'll give an example. Like, they laid me out. I was working retail. When all this stuff came down, they laid me off by email. They waited for the government amount of time before they can actually do it. Then they laid me off by email. And they said, "Oh, you can apply in the future." I'm like, "Why? Why?" They're at that point. They want an Amazon in every corner. They want a Starbucks in every corner. They want a Walmart over here and there. They want the big things that are being paid off.
That's right. And these tech billionaires are getting richer and richer while the middle class is being destroyed by design. And that's what these lockdowns are about too, destroying the middle class. Because once you get rid of the middle class, there's no one to oppose government tyranny. And we're right on the cusp of that now.
Destroy the human spirit, destroy the human identity of fighting for what is right and working hard every day to provide for your family, provide for yourself, and provide for a better future.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Superman with a better future.
I do declare. No, I'm just kidding.
To address that, D. Bud Martin, unfortunately, I live in San Francisco. I hope all retail leaves the city. They are leaving. The smart ones are. But the thing is, California's dead. It's in its death throes. It's completely fucked. I have a lot of close friends that are leaving for Texas or the Midwest in California. Some moved to Arizona because it is better in Arizona. But the fact is it's got to fail in order to build it back again because they destroyed it.
I don't know if it's ever going to come
leftists.
back.
I don't want to refer to them as liberals. These are leftists. These are not liberals. These are leftists that have destroyed that state. They destroyed it for all the people there, including their own. And they live in it's the fucking apocalypse in California, man.
It is.
I did work at Hot Topic, Pat. You already know this, but I wanted to ask you guys a question, Joe. Even Mike, you too. How long until we should start taking bets until someone renames themselves Snake Plissken, goes into California and starts cleaning up?
Yeah, well, those movies were prescient in ways they never imagined. But everything that's happening right now is entirely predictable. Not only did Orwell predict it, Cicero predicted this is the fate of every successful republic. And there's an old saying: it says, "Strong men breed good times breed weak men breed bad times." So it builds up, it reaches its pinnacle, and then it falls apart.
We're at the point where men are no longer weak to the demand; they're weak to the dollar and the gold lining their pocket, and it sucks.
Yeah.
Non-fungible tokens. I
don't know who NFT is.
Non-fungible token.
They gave those out during DC fandom in the guise of like rotating little graphics of comic book covers on hard drive discs. And I was like, what is going on?
I'm giving them away right now.
Yeah, figments of your imagination.
Non-fungible token. It's something that exists only in the ether. Some kind of program, a piece of art that's only electronic. It can't be printed out.
Oh, it's got an electronic signature to it. It's got a value. Yeah, I've heard they're selling them for millions of dollars. And shit.
Oh, cool. Here, I can give you an example right now. Hold on. I wasn't joking. Let me just sign in quickly. Oh, of course, my collection is currently unavailable. Screw you, DC. No.
And once that giant Chinese electromagnetic pulse goes off, there go your non-fungible tokens.
Yep.
And it'll be shaped like a TikTok video. Be prepared.
Oh my
That's right.
God.
Yeah, you've heard about the TikTok.
Oh, I'm not
Twitch.
surprised. Purple Valkyrie. The UK has been fucked for a while. The smartest thing they did is when they stopped banking the European Union, because they were the bank. They were the personal ATM for fucking Europe. And the UK said, you know what? Fuck you guys. We're keeping our money. But then the London mayor was insane. The shit
He is
that's
still
going on
insane. I don't understand how he stayed. Well, I do, and it's because they let anybody into the country unvetted, and but it's worse here now on the southern border. I mean, no organism, neither a single cell nor a nation can survive without controlling its borders. This is axiomatic. It should be obvious to everyone. Yet
every sovereign nation should be allowed to protect its borders, period. Every sovereign nation. But the problem is they want to get rid of borders. They want it to be one world government, one world currency.
With this little tiny ruling class at the top with endless wealth and endless perks, they never have problem. And this is the thing about these politicians who are voting to defund the police is they never worry about where their next paycheck is coming from. That's why they went into government in the first place. That's why most of these guys go into government.
It's like they've forgotten the whole story or the whole myth, however you want to call it, is like Atlantis fell, Pangea fell. Why would you want one China? Your own fell. Egypt, like the great, look at the Alexandrian Library, right? Is that about right? Yeah. All that knowledge gone. And we're doing it again, trying to wipe out history, to rewrite it, but we're just going to end up losing everything. We lose ourselves. We lose our humanity.
Yeah, a lot of people think history began the day they were born, or in the morning when they wake up. And they see, and that's why they don't teach history in school anymore. They teach a lot of nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the only way that you can fight is precisely with culture, in a certain way. Bringing up culture is a way of rebelling against the establishment or what is happening. You just look at all those people that are supporting mandated vaccines and all that, and people refusing that. They are fighting, and many of them do it through art, through culture, through other means, because in the end, art makes us free. So it's also good that we have art that is opposing the system and not going with it, like many other forms of expression are going right now, like mainstream art, or mainstream products.
Comedy. Dave Chappelle is a prime example.
For instance.
Yeah.
Then we got.
There's Elvis.
Oh.
Thank you very much.
What a suck. What a suck. What a suck. He's like, I'm on camera now. Time to go nap.
Do you see that baby?
Oh, you got stream sniped. You're getting stream sniped.
Who are you on with?
I'm on with Gerry Kissel and a number of other people.
A lot of other people.
The boss has made a cameo.
There you go.
Oh,
but
everybody's going to mom now.
Yeah.
Back to Thin Blue Line. I've mentioned George Soros a number of times in this conversation because he's behind so much of the evil that's happening in this country today. And he's in the book.
By name?
No.
Okay.
As a character?
I don't want to be heavy-handed with this. I mean,
Cool.
We've all seen really heavy-handed comics trying to make a political statement. For instance, there's a certain comic that shows Trump as some kind of monstrous King Kong chasing minority groups down the street while screaming. When in fact, Trump had one of the most diverse cabinets in history. And before he ran for president, no one accused him of racism because, in fact, he won a number of awards. He won the Martin Luther King Award for his work. And it just is, It's just all of a sudden when he threatened, and of course the reason they had to get rid of Trump was he was an outsider. He wasn't in on the game like everybody else. And the game is to rig the country for their own profit and perks while everybody else pays. And he was the first president in a long time to actually stand up for the average American. And he made life so much better. And we see it now when the opposite has taken place.
I mean, when you have one man standing on a stage looking like he's pooping his diaper, and we don't all want to point it out.
But we don't venture into that, except there's a mayor. The mayor in Thin Blue Line is a major player, and you're going to laugh about the mayor. I think I really nailed this mayor. It takes place in a large city in Illinois that I made up because I don't want to cast aspersions on actual real cities and hurt real city persons. City council members and mayors who may have been guilty, but we all know who they are.
Yeah, because pretty much every township city that was run by one of those people are the ones that are in the most trouble financially, the ones that are in trouble with law enforcement, and the ones that are in trouble with the highest numbers of fatalities from the coup.
That's true. Zach says they've done a great job of manipulating the language, and this has always been a hallmark of the left to try and control what you say. Every day, it seems they want to ban another word and punish you for not using the right pronouns and nonsense like that. I mean, it's just they're enshrining victimhood as a virtue, and victimhood is not a virtue.
Well, there's only really two pronouns, F and U. That's pretty much all I got to look at it right now. That's all I gotta do. Webster's will back me up on that somewhere.
There are three pronouns, four pronouns: fee, fi, fo, and fum.
Well, we're reaching the end of the hour.
Thank God.
Yeah, thank God. It's almost over. It's almost. Oh, sweet Jesus.
My dear,
I want
that's
to go ahead and let's share the link again. And I'm going to share the screen again. Share.
You might want to play that video. It's pretty good if you can.
He has a trailer. It's really good. Yep.
Oh, hold on. Let me stop screen.
It's voiced by Betty White.
Oh, if only. Alrighty, so now you should be able to hear it.
Yeah, blow that up.
Yeah, put the volume on, Mike. It's muted there, Gerry. You muted it on the video.
I heard you
it's muted on the video, yeah.
I don't know. I was just trying to be nice. Technical support.
There we go.
Yeah.
Beginning with issue number 1, Mike Baron wrote Marvel's The Punisher for over 5 years, approaching it as a straight crime comic, without any superheroes, aliens, or robots. Over the course of 60 issues, Baron elevated the gritty anti-hero into one of the most popular and enduring characters in the Marvel Comics universe. Now he brings that same ultra-realistic intensity to his latest graphic novel, Thin Blue Line. In the middle of a long, hot summer, a police shooting ignites a city. Activists, opportunists, and provocateurs descend to riot, loot, burn, and kill. Thin Blue Line follows Officer Valeria Baca and her partner as their detail guarding the mayor turns into a battle for survival. Ride along on this harrowing tale of two brave law enforcement officers fighting for their community and their own survival in a world gone mad. Eisner winner Mike Baron has created an alarming tale that unflinchingly examines human fallibility on every level. Along with penciler Joe Arnold, himself a full-time police officer, and talented anchor Jeff Slemons, they've created a moving and entertaining story ripped straight from today's headlines. Thin Blue Line exposes the defund the police movement and its consequences for society, but several comic book companies have refused to publish it. Now we're asking you to join the effort to distribute it independently and help support the men and women of law enforcement. Get your copy of the only graphic novel to offer an unflinching and not always flattering look at the men and women of law enforcement during a time when we need them the most. Not all heroes wear capes. It's a thin blue line between the rule of law and a world of chaos. Which side are you on? Thin Blue Line by Mike Barron. Order now on Indiegogo.
Can't wait.
Incredible. Can't wait for
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
I love it.
24%.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, it's great. Great.
He needs one more backer. They'll give him 25%. Let's get him out there. Let's get Mike Barron some coverage because he'll beat me if I don't say that.
It did sound like Sam Elliott, didn't it, Chris?
No, it's not Sam Elliott. No, Chris Crowley put that together. And Chris is a professional videographer. He makes films for a living, and he's one of the best in the country.
Yeah, I noticed right off the cuff that really sounded like Sam Elliott. Let him know. You sound a little like Sam Elliott.
I will let him know.
Let's see, what do we got in the questions here? Mike wrote the Thrawn trilogy comics too.
With that,
Probably.
Zach's actually, I adapted Timothy Zahn's novel, and they were a dream to adapt. And I take pride in the fact that there's not a word in those books that I wrote, that it's all Timothy Zahn's language. I simply turned it into a comic book.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see, Pat says that
It
is
is.
awesome trailer. Tell us everything, spoil nothing. Great art too. Thanks, Pat.
It looks amazing, man.
It
And
looks
Mike-
amazing.
Now,
Mike,
just to let you know who Pat is. Pat is the guy who brought me into doing the Band of Brothers special that we're doing tonight. Very
Cool.
excited about doing that episode tonight. I hope you do watch, Mike. It's got Julia Dye from Warriors Inc.
I'm going to be doing these shows all night long. This is I'm doing 7 shows today. I can't.
Mike
believe it.
Barron, the man of stamina.
The stam of Mammon.
Stamina. Mike, I gotta say one
Buddy,
thing.
Yeah, you can. Anytime you have an announcement, let me know.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Gary.
We'll have you on. Because I'm not just a fan. I'm a friend.
I know, and we're going to be working together soon.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
so
going to be
sorry.
working on. Do we tell the name
Buck,
or?
yeah, Buck Private America.
Yeah, I've been because people have asked me, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm allowed to say the name.
Say
So,
it.
Buck Private America, it's going to be badass. It's right down my alley of military shit.
And I think a lot of people can also say, Mike, thank you for just keep being yourself, keep bringing out the great products, and you can see it in your funding and your support, whether it be Indiegogo, your past issues of comic books, whether Punisher, Badger, or anything else. You are one of those people that have kept yourself not only aligned, but it's someone that respects their individuality and keeps pushing forward, man. I think you're an inspiration to a lot of people waiting for something more.
One of the
Thank
things
you,
I love
sir.
about you, Fat Steven, is that when you're saying the most sincere things, it sounds like you're reading off a cue card.
I'm not. That's actually, you want the truth?
There's a lot about your sincerity.
Here,
Mike.
listen. That is brought to you by Budweiser. I can sound coherent with more beer. But no, it's truth. Like you got to give compliments to the artists and to the writers and anyone else there trying to push something out there, whether you're writing a book, drawing for the book, a video game, anything, because you know what? They like hearing it. I know a lot of us don't like compliments, but even knowing that one voice out there saw something special in their project, it means they hit that one person they were aiming for. And that one person is always going to be multiplied by 1,000,000 because there's always more out there that haven't seen it yet. Without a voice,
sounded
we are
like you read it
silent.
right off a card. I swear to God.
Listen here, you. Hey, Gary, do you like to draw? Rick,
Oh my God, I love you, Steven.
love you too, you
But
fat
I want to
bastard.
thank you for coming on the show, Mike. As always,
Thank you for waking me up.
Thank you for remembering.
just so
Well,
everybody
he's gonna
knows,
remember
when he didn't
that.
show up
He's gonna
immediately on time, I called him.
He did. He was like, "Where is he? It's
I'm
2
laughing. I said,
minutes."
that fucker forgot the show. But thanks again, Mike. I
right.
love having you on, man. You're always a
It's
blast.
nice meeting you again.
Thanks, guys.
Thin Blue Line looks amazing. I already shared on Twitter, the telepathic bunny comics.
Thank you, sir.
so that they all get into it, because it's really great. It looks really good, and looking forward for more of that. Great.
I have one quick favor though. The project you and Gary are working on, can you at least do the copper tone, but have Gary getting his underwear pulled down by a dog? Just make it really awkward.
I don't think so.
You really
it
want the
won't happen.
backdoor
I'm
Gerry all
drawing
the
it.
time, don't you, mate?
I don't care. If he's gonna be a dick, I'm gonna be a dick. I love Mike. He's
I want to
great.
thank our chat, Pat, CJ, Dadman, Purple Valkyrie. Let's see who else came in here. Of course, Mike, Mexican Iron Man. Let's see, Das Wolfen, a good friend, Old Red Deck. Let's see. I hate missing. Mr. Tickle Trunk. We love you, man. Script Doctor, who's part of our panel, but he's just never on anymore because he has to work.
He works. He has a real
He
life, Gary.
works.
Stop
I do.
bugging
I have
him.
a job. Deleted
he-
Scenes, who's also part of our show, was in the chat. Glad to see him. Kaylee, of course, we love you. Six is here. She's okay.
Hello, Six.
JR Nerd Life. Let's see. I don't want to forget anybody. DeBud Martin. Thank you for showing up, man. Everybody that showed up. They said we're in the hundreds. We're still showing at 300 people.
300,
Over 300
yes.
right now.
Yeah.
That's amazing, man.
But it's Mike Barron. People go, "Hey, Mike Barron." Oh, Brett Cohen. G'day, mate. Thanks for coming up.
All right.
He's our Aussie friend. DW Brown was here. Thank you. And I'm going through the entire chat real quick because I like thanking everybody for watching the show.
Hey, I got to catch a nap before my next show.
I'm going to do the same thing because I'm still I've recovered, but I'm still kind of sick. So I've got a show coming up at 7 o'clock. So I'm going to take a little hour nap siesta. But
it's not a beauty.
thanks again for showing up, my friend. Look forward to the next time you come on. And with that, the panel wishes you well. And to the world, well, it's
Buy my merch.
buy my merch. But we're going to go out as
buy
well.
my
Let's
merch.
go out.
Goodbye, chocolate mousse. I'll never forget you. Goodbye, Ducroix. Take care of yourself. Goodbye, Deja Vu. I'll always remember you. And I'll miss you most of all, Scarecrow.